Hello everyone, welcome to Tea with TPS. Today we have a most distinguished and eminent journalist from the Gulf region, from Bahrain. He's not only an eminent journalist, but also a community leader, not only in Bahrain, but also in the context of the World Malayali Council. He's a known name wherever Keralites live in the world. And also in India, he's a familiar name. He started off as a journalist in Malayalam Manorama, but reached Bahrain and joined one of its major newspapers. And during this period, he has been the part of history of Bahrain, the recent history of Bahrain and India-Bahrain relationship. That is why he is known as the chronicler of Bahrain, because he participated in many official delegations. He encouraged India-Bahrain relationship. He kept good relations with the ruler and others in Bahrain, and also he had the support of the community. So, Mr. Soman Baby is our guest today, and we'll talk to him about the situation in the Gulf and also his own journalistic career and the kind of contribution that he made to India-Bahrain relationship. Welcome, Mr. Soman Baby.
Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, we have to take you back to your original work in Malayalam Manorama and how it happened that you moved on to Bahrain.
Sir, before that, I just wanted to tell you something. It's very strange that I am being interviewed by a person like you, a person who has a very distinguished diplomatic career, because I have always seen you as a true diplomat. You have been the ambassador, our ambassador in many countries, and also in the United Nations. So I really wonder how you can interview me, because I am such a small person. But thank God, anyhow, sir, you have selected me. I consider it a great honor. So thank you very much, sir.
No, but it is a friendly conversation, not an interview.
So, okay.
So it's not a question-answer session. And we know each other so well that there are no barriers at all.
Okay. No problem, sir. No problem.
Tell us about Manorama.
Oh, Manorama I joined in 73. Actually, 72, end of 72 I joined. That is in Malayalam Manorama Kottayam I joined, and then I moved to Calicut, where I was posted as a sub-editor. But in between, Thomas Jacob sir, who is our news editor, asked me to go to Palkar and serve there for at least 1 year and to become a reporter. So I went to Palkar and worked under Joey Shastamrikan, who was our editor there. He was I think I don't know what was his position that time. So he was such a wonderful man. So I worked with him for 1 year, and that time I made a lot of contacts in Manorama, where I can meet people, ministers coming, and so people like Corbis Taragan, and so AKG, and all these people. I went to their house, or they came to our office. So that was a very wonderful experience, and so by around after 1 year, I came back to Calicut, where I worked for another 2-3 years. So in 78, I came to Bahrain. That was a very wonderful experience to come to Bahrain.
How did that happen? Did the newspaper send you, or you went on?
No. Newspaper will never send you, because once a person joins that newspaper, they think they are going to be there for lifelong. But they did not send me, and so I just what I saw an advertisement in Times of India. I just applied. That the advertisement was like this: a newly established newspaper looking for reporters and sub-editors in Bahrain. So I just applied. Then I went to Bombay for the first interview. I told our news editor, Thomas Jacobs, sir, some lie. I said, and he asked me, okay, go there. So I went there, and there it was Anwar Abdul Rahman who was the managing director. Still,
And that was for a journalistic position that you
yeah. So he was the chairman, and so I went there, and he was very happy with my performance. And then he told me, now you wait for the final interview with Mr. Mahmood Al-Mardi, who is the chairman. So wait for 2-3 weeks. So I waited for 2 weeks. Then I got another telegram. That time this telegram, So I got a telegram, and then again I had to tell a lie, and I managed to go to Bombay. But next day itself, they sent another telegram saying that the interview is cancelled. But I did not receive that. I just went there, and I went to there from. Bahrain, Bombay is a very, very strange place for me. I am going there only for second or third time. So I went, took a taxi and went to the Oberoi Sheraton Hotel. I told this lady, the reception, I want to see this person. Oh my God, he's that person. He's going there. He's leaving. He's leaving in another 2 minutes. You go there and see him. I went and said, I told him, sir, this is interview. What interview? You already sent a telegram saying that it is cancelled. No, sir, I did not receive it. I am coming only for this. Then I had an argument with him and the British man with him, Ricky Wilson or somebody. And finally, they said, okay, for a change, we will give a chance. You come and prove yourself. Okay, so you are selected. So that is why I came here, and that history is never repeated. But I came here, that is it, sir. And then I did not have to turn back. That's God's blessing. That's God's blessing.
So what is the situation in Bahrain at that time? Where there were many Malayalis at that time?
Yeah, there were Malayalis, but not in the number of people now we see. But there are some Malayalis, and there is.
But very small, and also the economic development had not reached yet.
Yeah, not a big number. It's a very small number. But Kerala Samajam was there, and but I was the only Indian journalist in the whole thing, because there was I think I may be the first Indian journalist in the Gulf. To tell you the truth, that's why, because that time there was no other newspaper in Bahrain. We just started.
Gulf Daily.
Yeah, it was Gulf Daily News. So I worked there for some time, and then I told the editor I wanted to become a reporter. So a reporter, okay. So he gave me a chance to work as a reporter. So there my career started as a reporter. Then I did not have to look back at all. Thank God. So that was the whole exercise. But the first experience as a journalist was my visit to India.
Well, but how did you get close to the leadership?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you. That. So leadership is I wanted to give a chance to some people there, and finally they agreed. They contacted me, and so that way I came. And so the journalist, being a journalist is not a very small thing. But I told my people, so I wanted to go to some places where I can meet people. And finally, they agreed to send me to India because the Amir of Bahrain, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa, was visiting India for the first time. So the Ministry of Information appointed me to go with His Highness. So that was.
You came with him, or you came in advance to India?
Yeah, I came in advance. Just 2-3 days in advance I came there. That time I got an opportunity.
Was it the first visit of the Amir to India, or was there?
First visit, first and last visit, because he came only once, and that was the first visit. And he came, and so I was with him in Delhi, Jaipur, Agra, and finally I came to Bombay, where we had a private audience, because there he did not go much places there, and in Bombay he was in a hotel as like a majlis. He was sitting there, so I went there, and there one person who came to take me, and I went there and I met His Royal Highness. It was a wonderful experience, and he said, "I'm so happy you are with me, and now you will come to Bahrain and see me in my majlis, because every alternate Tuesday he got a private majlis. So you should come and see me in my majlis." I said, "Okay, I can come, sir." That was a great experience. In between,
what was the mood like at that time between India and Bahrain? Was that the beginnings of a good relationship?
Oh, very good.
Indian leaders treat him.
No, sir. It was a very wonderful relationship with India. That's no doubt. And before that, I met the first major interview in my life is Mrs. Indira Gandhi. That was 3 days before the visit of the Amir. I went there, and I got a chance through somebody to meet Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. I went to see her in South Block, and it was. I'm still. I don't know how to explain that. So that was.
That is a tradition when a foreign head of state comes to India. Normally, the Prime Minister gives an interview to a journalist from that country.
Maybe that's why. So I was told that there may be a chance. So I went there and I told her everything about my visit to India and my life in Bahrain. And she asked me about the Amir and all. And she said, "Okay, we are looking forward to receive the Amir." It was then His Highness came, and then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was with him, and so it was a wonderful time in India. That's it.
So at that time, were you writing about Bahrain, or were you writing about international affairs? Were you writing about India, Bahrain relations, etc., or Gulf generally?
No. I was.
What was your beat? What was your beat at that time?
I was purely on Bahrain, India. In Bahrain-India relation, that comes in between. But usually, it was an experience with the people community. The community affairs. Actually only one Indian reporter. The community around. So then Indian community was increasing. So there are so many associations. So all the associations I visit, and then I don't see any problem in having an association with many other organizations. But in my case, I was considering Bahrain and India as one of the greatest associations we had together. And so I have the associations was very wonderful experience, and
but the numbers were still small.
When you say small, it was around I think, because now we have about 400,000 Indians. That is around at least 300,000 Keralites. Oh. So in that time it was around. Not much, sir. Not many, or maybe 40,000-50,000 Indians. That's all I think.
And that includes workers also who do not really come into these community meetings and so on.
Yeah. So a lot of people, the blue collar workers. So mainly it is the blue collar workers, people who are invited for
construction, etc.
Yeah, some companies and all. That's it. Yeah.
But how many nationalities were there at that time? Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc. also.
Oh yeah, yeah, all of them, all the Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, all of them were there. There was no discrimination in the number of Indians, but still the Indians who came first. So only after Indians come the other categories. Still now Indians are the largest expatriate community in the world.
And generally they are welcomed and they are considered a good group of people, because on some of these countries sometimes ban certain countries, etc.
Yeah, no, we
never have the Indians in any of the Gulf states.
No, we don't have any experience like that. Here, all are welcome. Everybody is welcome here. So that's it.
But what did the Indian Association do? Of course, there are limits about what you can say and what you can do, etc. in these countries, isn't it? You can't have a play, or you cannot have too much of dance and music. Was there any such restriction?
Not too many restrictions, sir. Indian associations, the Indian Club is the largest Indian association because Indian Club was more than 100 years old. Then Kerala Samajam is the 1947. It was the Independence Day. At time it was opened. So then there are many. I think there are about many hundreds associations. 100, I think 110 or.
Indian associations? 100 Indian associations?
Yeah, 120 I think associations. But only 25 or 30 are registered under the Ministry of Social Affairs, and the rest are not registered, but they are still even a small group, they got an association like that.
Yeah, that is, of course, wherever the Malayalis are, there are many associations.
Yeah.
There are associations in the name of Kodancheri and Pandalam and Kozhikode.
Yeah. That's what I was feeling that. So that way.
When I came to Bahrain, I found that there were groups who, were for certain regions in Kerala, specifically.
Yeah.
Even my own hometown, there were some people who were having a group.
Yeah, you are right. Trivandrum is there. Many associations, many places are. There are many associations out in the places that belong to. So
you were doing a lot of that time. You were doing a lot of charity work. For whom? Was it for the blue collar workers?
Yeah, actually, every association is taking care of their workers, especially the blue collar workers. They do charity work. And so I remember the one incident in so I think it was the 50th anniversary of India's independence.
Right.
So that year,
I was 97.
Yeah, so I was the chairman of the coordination committee of Indian associations. So that time, we were having many programs to talk about the independence and all. And then suddenly
it was a big celebration. I remember I was in Kenya at that time. I was a commissioner there.
So
we had a large number of celebrations. Wherever.
Yeah, we had a lot of associations, and we had a lot of organizations, and still, as the Indian independence movement, we were writing and. Many programs we were having. And
who was the Indian ambassador then?
That time I don't know.
Who are the ambassadors you remember? Murali Menon was there, no? NPM Menon.
Yeah, Murali Menon was there, but he passed away,
That is recently.
Yeah. Murali Menon was not there, he came after that.
But who are the ambassadors whom you know?
Pardon?
Who are the ambassadors whom you knew at that time? Can you remember?
I remember most of the ambassadors. I was very close. I cannot remember the names of all, but still Prem Singh was there, and
yes, Prem Singh was my batchmate.
And then Mr. Bhatnagar was there, and who else? Then George Joseph was there, and Murali. Mr. Menon was there, then Balakrishna Shetty was there, and so there were Mohan Kumar was there. Like that, so many ambassadors were there. So what happened is in one building got fire, and there are two little girls, Sajida and Sanita. I still remember their names. It is 3-year and 5-year-old. They became orphans because their father, mother, and brother died in that fire.
Oh.
So we were all shocked. So then I wrote in my newspaper about these children, and we made an appeal for them. So the first money, the first donation came from the Prime Minister of this country, His Royal Highness Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa. So he gave a check, and with that money we started collection, and I think we were able to raise about 35 lakhs rupees at that time. And so we gave that money, we made a trust, and their grandfathers, grandparents were made as the trustees, and so that money was given to them. So that was very memorable.
They must have now grown up.
They have grown up, and after they were grown up and they came here once, we invited them, and at YMCA, I am the president of YMCA. We given them the reception, and we took them to the royal family member who arranged everything, and so they were very happy. And finally, and I think last year, the second girl was also married. So 3 years ago, the first married, and the second one was married. So both girls got married, and they are living happily.
Where? In India?
In India, in Kerala.
All right. At that time, the relationship between India and Bahrain, what are the major features? Trade, apart from the Indian community, was there anything else that the Indian embassy was doing?
Mainly trade relations was the main thing between the countries, India and Bahrain.
Like what? We were importing oil from them, were they? Were we inviting? Do they sell oil? Bahrain?
They have oil, but not the way Saudi Arabia and other countries got it. They have some oil for some export, and so they don't. But some petrochemical things they are exporting to India. But we are also getting enough from India also. So that way, we are having a trade relations was very, very strong.
But what is the strength of their economy now?
You mean Bahrain's economy?
Yeah.
Bahrain's economy is a very commercially oriented country. Because
more like Dubai, is it like more like UAE, where they manage with trade? Most of they don't produce much.
Yeah.
It is the main thing.
Yeah, here also the same thing. They are not producing much, but they have all the banks. About 150 banks are there. So the commercial banks are there, and there is Aluminium Bahrain, one of the biggest aluminum smelters here. This Bako Bahrain Petroleum Company is there. That is a refining. It's not a Bahrain is getting mainly oil from Saudi Arabia, and they are refining it here. And so there are other industries also. Now they have grown up, and the industries are there. And so that is it. That way it is going on. It's a very, very strong country.
So it's a prosperous country.
It's a prosperous country, but we cannot say the way other countries, other Gulf countries are coming up. No, but still we are having our own limitations, but we are managing things okay.
But within the GCC, who is Bahrain close to? UAE or Saudi Arabia or who?
Saudi Arabia is the closest for Bahrain because it is that 24 kilometer that causeway is there. It is next door to Saudi Arabia. Then is the UAE. So these are the two countries. We are very, very close, but we are
getting much more liberal. Bahrain is much more liberal than Saudi Arabia. So people come to Bahrain to have a good time, do they?
Yeah, they are actually Bahrain is the most liberal country in the whole of the. I think in the world it is one of the very few countries having a lot of freedom, because he see in Bahrain, His Majesty has given us freedom to practice our own faith. So that way, all the religions are here, and everything is here. And people who come from Saudi Arabia, not now, because of the COVID situation, people are not coming. But otherwise, they are all coming during the weekend here, and they are having a nice time, because what is not available in their country, they are getting here. That's it.
And now what is the situation? Now Bahrain has normalized relations with Israel. Do you see any consequence of that?
Yeah, there was in Bahrain and UAE normalized the relations with Israel. And so yeah, I think other countries also will follow. But now we are having a very good relation with Israel, and the embassy will be opened very shortly. In UAE also, it is going to be very normal relation with Israel, and that way it's going to be a very wonderful experience that we are having with Israel. Israel, sir, in our country, there is an organization called This Is Bahrain. That is it's a private organization, but they are taking people to many countries, and I went with them to New York, where I had the privilege to go to United Nations and then they had a meeting in Israel. But
it was organized by that Israeli organization, was it?
No. It is the Bahrain organization. Bahrain. Yeah, it is the This Is Bahrain organization took us to Israel, and we went to Israel. What happened is when Trump declared Jerusalem as the capital.
Right.
After 1 week of that, we reached there. Oh my God, there was a lot of confusion here, and people started abusing us. That we went there and all in Bahrain. So they told us, you just relax, don't worry, nothing happened, because we are here by His Majesty. We are given the ticket, everything is given by His Majesty the King. So no problem. So
you were at that time in Israel when this announcement was made?
Yeah, no, that time it was not made. Then after this meeting was over, and then 3 months ago, they announced the relations with Israel is normal. So that was a very exciting experience.
That was a historic change. But even then, when the Jerusalem capital was announced, the reaction was not so strong. If it had happened a few years earlier, there would have been a war. But when the actual announcement was made, surprisingly, there wasn't much of a chaos in the Arab.
We thought a lot of chaos will be there, but nothing happened. Nothing happened, only so people were talking here and there, that's all. So then now everything is going normal.
And Palestine has good relations with Bahrain also.
Yeah, very good relations with Palestine. Like India, we are also having very good relations with Palestine. So we are having some of the major changes taking place in the area. Our Prime Minister, who was actually before that, I wanted to talk about the Amir. The Amir, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa. He was. He asked me to go to his majlis every alternate Tuesday. So I went to his majlis every alternate Tuesday, except 2 months I did not go because I had a problem in my eye. So when I went there, he said, "What happened? You were not here for the last 2 months." He was counting every time. He said, "Where are you? Where are?" So, and we had a very, very close relation. Then actually, then he called me to his room, and then only myself and His Highness asked me, "What is the problem with your eye?" I said, "Your Highness, everything is okay now. I went for treatment in US, and now I went in Madras. Now it is okay. Wherever you want to go, you tell me. You are like my son," he said. But unfortunately, after almost 1 year, he passed away. Then his son took over, His Majesty the King. And His Majesty the King was very, very close to everybody. He was such a very good king. And I don't know how to say that. There's an island called Hawar Island here. His Majesty was visiting that place, and one of my friends called me to go there. And Mr. Muhammad Dadabai, he was running the hotel there. So I went there and met His Majesty. That was His Majesty the King. Then I showed him one photograph because my daughter, who was studying in US, she went to there was a parade of nations. She carried the Bahrain flag for the parade of nations. Actually, they should carry the flag of their country, but she asked us to send only Bahrain. So we sent it, and she carried it, and she sent me the photograph. I just showed that photograph to him. He was so thrilled, and he said, "Where I can see her? I want to see her." But I told her, His Majesty, she is in the US, and when she comes back, I will please let me know whenever she comes. So I waited for her to come back. When she came, I informed the royal court that but before that we had a meeting also in the royal court with His Majesty. We had coordination committee of Indian associations, and I went there, and we gave a present and everything. Then I told him, "Okay, I will see your daughter. Where is she now?" I said, "She has come back." Okay, that's all. But one same night, I had a call from the royal court saying that His Majesty wants to see you and your daughter. Please come. And we are sending the car. So they sent the car to our house. We prepared flower and all. We went there, and we went to Safria Palace. Only myself, my daughter, and the king. The king was there with us for almost 40 minutes, and we had a very good time. And then he asked everything about USA and our studies. And so then he asked me, why don't you, how long you have been in Bahrain? I said, more than 25 years. So, okay, why don't you write a book? I said, actually, I'm planning a book, Your Majesty, and with your blessings, I hope to publish it. And I wrote that book. I published that book called Shukran Bahrain. That book was
Thank you. Thank you, Bahrain.
Shukran Bahrain, and this is the book.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, very, very huge book. So I wrote that book, and he was very, very happy, and so then I gave this copy to His Majesty. We went there and met him. I gave to the Prime Minister. I gave to the Crown Prince. And so that was Crown Prince. That was a very good experience. And Crown Prince visited India when the Embassy of India was opening in Delhi. So there I took this book, and I told the Crown
Till
Prince.
then, there was no embassy in India, or it was only a new building? Bahrain
New
didn't
building.
have an
New
embassy.
building. There was an embassy, but it was the new building. So I went and the book was there with me, and E. Ahmad was the minister at that time, External Affairs State Minister. So I gave the book to him, and he was also very happy. And then the Prime Minister here, I went to his palace and gave it. So that way the relationship was very, very good.
So in all these countries, this is one advantage that we have. Those Indians who have done well, who are close to the rulers, etc., have been able to help a lot. Whether it is in UAE or whether it is in Saudi Arabia, we have a number of Indians who have done well. And that is a help to the embassy in many ways. Informally, you can communicate. And that's a great advantage that we have, our ambassadors have in these countries. So you have known a lot about what is happening between India and Bahrain. And that must be very helpful. How about the World Malayali Council? What is your experience like? You are the global chairperson, right?
Oh, World Malayali Council, that was a very, very good experience. World Malayali Council, when they had a meeting in, where was it? In Singapore.
Singapore. You took over in Singapore,
Singapore, I became the chairman, and after 2 years...
you took over from my wife. I believe you took over from my wife in Singapore.
Yeah, I actually, your wife, actually, I succeeded her, because she was a chairperson for about 4 years, I think.
Right.
And so after that, I took over, and Singapore it was the place where I became the chairman. Then 2 years later, it was in Doha. So both these places, I was the chairman. And then 2004, the global conference was held in Bahrain. It was very, very beautiful way the organization was held here, and so many people like Umman Chandi, K.M. Mani, or P. Alexander, all those people came, and what happened is recently when Abdul Kalam was our former president. I was the former president Abdul Kalam. He came to Trivandrum. At that time, M.A. Baby was the education minister. So then we thought of calling some people, because when I became the chairman, we had something called we organized a program to groom the people to socially committed and globally competent and socially committed. That was our motto.
This is what Priyadas is doing now.
So Priyadas was the person who actually did that. Priyadas and one more person was there. So these two people helped me.
Altius, right? Altius.
Altius. And Altius is that word is from the Olympic logo.
Yes,
so,
higher.
Going higher and higher. So that way, so we actually organized it, and it was about
that was a very successful program. I don't hear much about it these days, but
actually,
I used to hear a lot about it from Priyadas, and I participated in many of those, leadership programs.
I remember you came and addressed the meeting. I remember that. And so these people, when I was the president of the council.
But what is the status of the World Malayali Council now? Are there several factions, or
no?
Have you got connected back again?
No, I'll come to that. So we had a meeting there, and we called some people about. In Thrissur, there was a big conference, and we called around 500 people from different colleges to come to Trivandrum, and so we had a meeting there, and I was sitting with Mr. M.A. Baby was on my right. He was the Minister of Education, and then Abdul Kalam was on my left. So, as Abdul Kalam was speaking, he usually speaks a lot of things, and then he asked some questions. People ask any questions he can ask. So so many people ask questions, but one girl who stood up, and Your Excellency, my name is Fleming. She is the second year graduate student of the college in Maharaja's College in Ernakulam. And she said, I am totally blind. Because then we realized she's a very blind girl. She's a blind girl. And she said, I am here because of my friends. My friends are leading me. Because of them, I am here. So, what is your advice to get me positive approach in life? He was very thrilled, and he was telling her the story of Helen Keller. And then he came to me and said, I want to have a photographic at the oh my God. And then after everything was over, he again reminded me, just call that girl. So I went and took her, and he hugged her. And that photograph was in the newspaper, all the newspapers, that photograph was carried. And
he was really a great man in many ways. He was a great man in many ways. And,
yeah, very good. So, really,
with the young children.
Yeah. So that way it was a wonderful thing. And now we are asking about the World Malayali Council. Now there are not many factions. There was always two factions. Now it is not that that second faction is not that very prominently. No.
My attitude, I have worked with the Malayali communities around the world. And I always say the more the merrier. There is no problem. Have any number. As long as you work together and you don't contradict each other. So I'm the one who went and inaugurated FOMA when nobody wanted to touch them. They were considered to be untouchables. But I went all the way to Houston and inaugurated FOMA. At that time, nobody from India was willing to go. Neither Valar Ravi or even the embassy in Washington. So my theory has always been that if they want to operate as separate groups, and that is another source for the embassy. If I have three organizations, I would rather work with all the three of them rather than trying to merge them, etc. So that has been my attitude. But some people don't like it. They say, no, you are, encouraging factions. And so
So, but that way your attitude is really good, But in Bahrain also some ambassadors, they were very, very encouraging to community coming up with a lot of associations because it will help the community. But some are very, very strict because only the registered organizations are allowed to practice.
But just being safe, Because in foreign countries, we encourage other kinds of meetings. Anyway, we are coming to the end of our conversation. Tell us about COVID and its effect in Bahrain. How bad was it? How was it managed?
Yeah, COVID situation is very, very in Bahrain. They did it.
Was it very bad? Was it very bad?
No, very beautifully they managed it. Because in many countries the rates are going up. Now in Bahrain it is now about 500, 600 people now that every day. But still now it is a very the problem is in Bahrain what happened is in last year in November the Prime Minister passed away. So after 40 years, 14 or 50 years, he was the Prime Minister for 50 years. He passed away. And then the Crown Prince took over. The Crown Prince is now the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince. So the Crown Prince was managing the whole thing here with the COVID-19, and the task force was set up, and he managed it so well, and even the 3 months, for the.
Was there a lockdown? Was there a lockdown?
No, not lockdown. But it was a very experience-wise. It was like a lockdown. but everything was wonderfully managed, and he said that the task force committee was set up. He is the chairman, and then these three months electricity was waived for both expatriates and Bahrainis, and now even still Bahrainis are not paying. Even the organization called Tangeet paying part of their salary. Even here the COVID-19 situation is very much under control.
How about vaccines?
And the vaccination is very, everybody, almost everybody is given free. Vaccination is free. So nobody has to pay anything for vaccine.
So regardless of nationality or
nothing, irrespective of nationality, I took both vaccines, the first one and the follow-up doses. And there are about...
they have Indian vaccines, which were they? What?
Yeah, Indian vaccine was then the Covishield was sent here, and it was, I think about 5 lakhs or something, that was also going on. And there are about five or six.
Yeah, or there are other countries also were providing vaccines.
Which
China and others.
Here mainly we took, it was Sinopharm. Sinopharm is the Chinese vaccine. But there are other vaccines are also there, and about 5 or 6 vaccines are now available. And people are, most of the people are using it, and I think almost about 30-40% of the population already vaccinated, and the rest are in the queue and getting vaccinated. So that way it is.
There is no shortage of any kind.
No shortage at all. Because, we are
how did it affect the Indian community? A lot of people came away at that time, did they? How many people came back at the time of COVID, losing jobs and so on?
Yeah. There are some people lost their job. That way we have to admit that. Some people. So actually, in COVID time, there were some. Most of the people, most of the countries, most of the companies had their vaccination, not even vaccination, even the COVID situation. Because of the situation, the things are very, very normal. To become normal, it takes some time. So that time it was really very sad that some people had to go back. Some people, and then finally, I think about 10,000 people must have gone back, but some of them have come back after that. So, and there are about 300, 400, 600, 450 people have already died. But we are also in a very, very sad situation that about 30-40 people from Kerala also was also affected. But everything was in a very normal situation compared to India. Now we are having in India, every day it is increasing. So that way, when we think about Bahrain, it is very comfortable, and people are happily. The situation is very.
How about travel? Are you able to travel out of Bahrain and come back?
Yeah. We are traveling, and for that time, COVID-19, that time it was not allowed because there was no flight. There's no flight now. The flights are there now. Even the Gulf Air which operated daily flights, now only weekly one flight, and Air India is almost operating daily. So that way we started taking a flight. But when we come back, we have to have three COVID tests.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have to take a test as soon as we arrive, and after 5th day there is another test, and 10th day another test. Just to make sure you are okay. So And that is it. Now things are getting back to normal, sir. Everything is getting back to normal. Yeah.
Soman, you talked about visitors from Bahrain to India. You know, that came, the Prime Minister came, etc.
Yeah.
Are there any VIPs visiting from here to Bahrain during your time, the Prime Minister or Chief Ministers? Have you had any experience of that?
Yeah, because Oommen Chandy, who was the Chief Minister, and he was given the award by the United Nations. And so I had the
program. His contact program was recognized by the UN. I remember.
Yeah. So I had the privilege to attend that in a place where it was very well received, and a lot of people were there. And so I was really privileged to be in that group, and so Oommen Chandy was very well connected and very well received. And so all these people, most of the people who came from India, they were received by His Majesty and the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince. So so that way it was a very wonderful experience. People had to meet the people, and they met the leaders also of this country. For example, we had His Excellency Sheikh Khalifa bin Daid Al Khalifa, who is the president of the Crown Prince Court. He visited India. He was actually he came for a Ravi Pillai's daughter's wedding, and then we came there, and then he asked me in Trivandrum whether there are any people from Bahrain here. So actually, then I told him there is an association of Bahrain Returnees and Residents Association. So I called them immediately, and they came and met him. He was so happy. Then later, he decided to go there and receive an award by the association, Bahrain Kerala Friendship Award. The first award
was given to whom? Was given to whom?
Sheikh Khalifa bin Daid Al Khalifa. He was the president of the Crown Prince Court. So, so we were very happy, and I came with him, and Varghese Kurian was there, Ravi Pillai was there, and so we came, and then there he invited Pinarayi Vijayan, who Pinarayi Vijayan only presented the award to him. So that function was really great, and so then he said, please visit Bahrain. So from the Crown Prince, he gave the invitation to Pinarayi Vijayan to visit Bahrain, and so that way he came here, and so we met the Prime Minister, the President, His Majesty the King, and His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Crown Prince, he came at the invitation of the Crown Prince. So that was a very wonderful experience. So
you had at least 2 Kerala Chief Ministers there.
Yeah.
In Bahrain.
Yeah, actually not 2. Actually, E.K. Nayanar but that time he was not the Chief Minister. He was the opposition leader. So anyway, so that way, lot of people, not chief ministers, but many people who came from India, they were here. All the religious leaders, the Muslim League of Panakkad, Shihab Thangal was there, and our Christian church leaders, all the bishops, and all of them, most of them, I had the privilege to accompany them to His Majesty the King, His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. So that was a very wonderful experience, sir. Thank you.
Very good. That's very good news. So Thank you very much. Thank you very much for spending this time with me. It has been a very interesting conversation. Your own personal experience, your own view of the world. So it's all very interesting for our viewers. So thank you very much, Thomas. It was
Thank you
great
so much.
pleasure talking.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.